Mowing the lawn is something that we've all experienced in some form or another. Whether you've participated in the activity directly, seen it being done, or simply enjoyed a nice, cool yard of freshly cut green, we can all relate to this common task. Grass is everywhere we go in our world, and often, wherever this grass is, there's a lawnmower keeping it cut short. Lawnmowers are everywhere and come in hundreds of different varieties. Throughout history, the lawn mowing process has evolved significantly. My name is Garrett Van Beek. A little about my credibility in the lawn mowing field. I've spent a great deal of time mowing lawns, and I've been hired on many occasions to mow lawns. In addition to all this, I've used many different types of lawnmowers to mow the lawns. Today I'm going to share with you the history of lawnmowers, the tools that we use to cut the grass in question. First, I'm going to talk about how people cut grass before we invented lawnmowers. Then I'm going to talk about the first lawnmower, how it was invented, how it went, and lastly, I will go over the various types of lawnmower which is prominent today. First, I will talk about life before modern lawnmowers. Well, in modern times, we do have lawns just about everywhere, and a thriving lawn maintenance industry. In the past, things were very different. In history, lawns have usually been reserved for places like parks or the homes of the wealthy or sporting areas. The areas around homes didn't have lawns. Instead, they were used to grow more useful plants, such as food, to not starve to death. In rural communities where lawns did exist, the term didn't refer to what we have today, a decorative piece of turf. Instead, a lawn was a field on which farmers grazed their livestock. This is likely what led to the concept of lawns, as the natural fertilization and the cutting of the grass from the animals created a nice meadow. Additionally, the grazing of livestock became one of two primary early lawn cutting methods. In places where decorative lawns were present, however, they were typically cut using the second primary method, the scythe. The pronunciation is odd, but scythes are tools used for cutting the grass. It's a long-handled tool with a long curved blade on the end and another handle in the middle. And you hold it like this and you swing it back and forth. In theory, using one is pretty simple. You just swing the blade on the grass. However, it actually takes a very skilled hand to perfect the swinging motion in order to cut the grass evenly, as well as an additional worker to sweep up the clippings into a bag. This made having the grass cut this way very expensive, and it was no wonder that someone decided to improve things. Now that we've discussed how grass was cut before mechanized lawnmowers, we can now move on to discussing the early lawnmower designs. These lawn mowing techniques that we've discussed, they're interesting, but they're not really a reflection of everyday lawn mowing. That scythes and animal grazing is how people cut grass in the past. But how did we come to invent actual lawnmowers that we use today? Well, I'm going to now discuss the invention of the very first lawnmower. The first lawnmower is credited to a British man named Edwin Budding. He created it in the 1830s, and its design was actually pretty similar to modern push mowers. It was controlled by an operator pushing from the back. Budding was inspired by cloth cutting machines that he had seen in his work at a cloth mill. So his lawnmower used a rotating cylinder, which was propelled by gears and connected to the wheels, and it cut the grass. In a surprisingly modern convenience of engineering, the machine actually automatically collected the cuttings by throwing them forward into a collection box on the front of the machine. Budding's design was made of wrought iron, so it was pretty heavy. However, it was a huge success and it sold well. As a result, his design became the standard. About 20 years later, in the 1850s, Budding's patent expired, which led to lots of other manufacturers taking his design and creating their own versions. Soon they were making horse-drawn lawnmowers and chain-driven lawnmowers rather than gear-driven lawnmowers, and even steam-powered lawnmowers were produced by many companies, and the age of mechanized lawn mowing had truly began in earnest. I've discussed early lawnmower designs now, but it's time to move on to what modern mechanical lawnmowers look like. These early lawnmower designs are pretty interesting, but once again, they're not really a reflection of how we mow the lawn today. Early lawnmowers were powered by external forces, such as animals, or more commonly, human beings. And despite the fact that much of the overall design has remained consistent, lawnmowers today are much more advanced, usually powered by internal engines. In modern push mowers, Budding's design can still be seen. However, modern mowers tend to use rotating mulching blades rather than a cutting cylinder, resulting in a much neater and shorter cut. Additionally, modern mowers have engines powering them, removing the need for the operator to provide power manually. There are hundreds of lawnmower designs, and it'd be impossible for me to cover them all. There's the push mower, which is inspired by Budding's design. The ride-on mower, which I'm sure you've all seen. However, my personal favorite variety is the zero-turn mower. Zero-turn mowers, at first glance, are just ride-on mowers. However, they have the ability to complete an entire 180-degree turn from a standstill, which allows the operator to accomplish a much neater cutting pattern on the lawn. Straight rows. It's beautiful. These types of mowers have existed since 1965 and accomplished this engineering feat in a variety of ways. The first zero-turn had a 3-wheel design, with 2 wheels in the back and 1 in the front. The single front wheel was both the turning wheel, with a 360-degree turning range, and also the drive wheel. This allowed the operator to turn the wheel very sharply and accomplish a very tight turn as a result. Other zero-turns, such as the one I own, use back drive wheels rather than a front one to accomplish the same task. These 2 back wheels are powered individually from one another and controlled by the operator individually. The operator is able to move one wheel backwards and the other forward, resulting in, once again, a very tight turn. It's a similar concept to how tanks turn. Lawnmowers come in many forms: gas and electric and even automatic lawnmowers. Robotic lawnmowers are typically thought to be a modern amenity or even something of the future. But robotic lawnmowers have actually existed since 1969, when the very first robotic lawnmower was patented, the Mowbot. After that, robotic lawnmowers didn't immediately become common. The technology simply wasn't there. It wasn't until Husqvarna released the solar mower in 1995 that the concept really became common. Today we have robotic lawnmowers everywhere, and many cities use them to save money on cutting the lawn. Robotic lawnmowers allow people to simply leave the mowing of their lawns to the machine itself. I've discussed today early lawn mowing, the invention of the first lawnmower, and how this invention has evolved over the years. Lawn mowing is a task that happens all over the world. However, there's no one right way to do it, really. In this speech, we've discussed so many different methods of lawn mowing that have been used throughout history, and while they have their differences, from the common scythe to the advanced robotic lawnmower, the spirit of lawn mowing remains the same, producing a nice, freshly cut grass for us to enjoy.